This is Jeff Burns of Freelance Art Journey. You can check out my work at jeffburnsart.com. Hey there. It's been a while. Yeah, this has been a busy year. I think I did a video at the first of the year, maybe around February or so, and it's been radio silence since then. It's a good and bad thing. I've been busy. A lot of projects. In fact, as I record this, I've probably got 7 or 8 projects going at once. And I'm not complaining. It's a good thing. I'm staying busy, paying bills. It's always a blessing. But along with that are the challenges of getting those projects accomplished. And because I'm a freelancer, as you know, you can't really say no to a new project that comes along. So I have a few new ones coming, and I got to take them. Regardless to what I have on the plate, I got to figure out a way to juggle these things and make them happen. So, with that comes the question of when is enough? And then what do I do to manage these things? And so that brings me to the topic of this video, which is mental health for freelance artists. And so it can be a deep subject. And there are some videos out there and resources and things where artists can talk about mental health. And so this is just kind of me sharing my own experiences in it. I am not, a licensed therapist or anything like that, but I do feel that my experiences can help someone else, so why not share those? Now, to be fair, my wife is a counselor, not a therapist, but she does have a master's degree in school counseling, and along with that, she's also had to deal with her own issues with anxiety. And she's been to therapy, she's worked through it, and so now she's able to, along with her own experience and her education, help others. So, I'm gleaning from her as well in that area. She's someone, obviously, that I talk to on a regular basis and bounce things off of. And so she's helped me work through some of my own issues and continues to help me as I go through, because, as long as you're on this planet, as long as you're living, and as long as you're taking on work, you're going to experience some tough times and situations that you wouldn't otherwise, maybe you would experience, but in different ways. So as artists, we have things that we deal with. We have to deal with having enough money to pay the bills. We have to deal with difficult clients. We have to deal with the imposter syndrome and wondering, am I qualified to do this? Should I even be here? And there's a myriad of other things that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, from family issues to just our own confidence levels. And so all of these things can affect us as artists, can affect our performance level. And so what do we do? How do we work through that? One thing that I like to do is tell myself that I do art. Yes, I'm an artist, but that doesn't define me, right? Anything you can do to separate yourself from what you do, I think is beneficial. So for me to be able to take off the artist hat and set it down and walk away, at least for a short period of time, is good. It's beneficial. Now, for a while, I did graphic design for probably 20 years and then experienced burnout. And so, I talked about this in previous videos. I put my career aside. I got my first bad review from my supervisor.
Can you believe it's only been 6 months since your last performance review? Wow. Where to begin? I guess let's start at the top. Your hair is disgusting. Everybody can tell you.
And, to be honest, I don't think that it was a fair review. This was a new supervisor. He just came into the position. Previous to him, things were great. Once he came aboard, he kind of came in at a time when burnout was beginning to happen. So I can't put all of the blame on him, but I can say that our personalities clashed a bit. And so in this review, he told me, he said, "Jeff, don't throw your career away. Get it together." And at that moment, or maybe a little after that, I really thought about, what? Maybe I should throw my career away. Maybe I should just walk away from this. At that time, I was beginning to dabble in the real estate investing, and I had some other things going. So my career at that particular company was not something that we really needed. Let's just say it was something that I was just accustomed doing, is to work a 9 to 5. And so I said, you know what? I don't need this right now. And so I literally, maybe within 3 weeks of that review, I put in my 2-week notice and I walked away. I threw my career away, if you can put it that way.
Hey, what you guys doing? There's a lot of dishes to be washed. Wash them yourself, right? I retire.
So sometimes you need to take a break. I'm not saying to totally leave, but if it's stressing you to the point of burnout, then definitely find a way to separate yourself, at least for a period of time. So I stepped away from graphic design, and I didn't do anything art related for maybe 5 years. And then one day I began to feel this other kind of depression. It's like, what's wrong? Why am I not feeling fulfilled or happy? And I discovered it was because I'm not creating anymore. I was made to create. I'm artistic, creative. That's an outlet that I need to fulfill. I need to be producing something. So I got back into it. I had to. I was compelled to. That's when you know that you know what your purpose is. When you can, or when you try to walk away from it, and it keeps coming back. It keeps coming up. Years ago, I used to rap. Used to write lyrics, produce music. I was trying to get into the game. Never really made it. But there was a point where I said I didn't need that anymore. I walked away and never looked back. And I have not had a desire to get back into that. This was different. And I could not escape the need to create on some level. So, but saying all that to say, to be able to take off the artist hat, the freelance illustrator or whatever hat that you wear, don't have that identify who you are. It doesn't define you. It's something you do, but you can put that aside and do something else and come back to it later. And I think it's important to have that distinction. So that's one thing. Along with that is the ability to do something else. Do something outside of your creative sphere. So if you are a religious person like myself, I pray a lot. I'll read my Bible. You might want to meditate, do yoga, take walks, hikes, something totally outside of the creative sphere that can give you the opportunity to clear your head and think a little differently than you would normally. Then when you turn around and you come back, then you realize, oh, this is the problem, or this is how I can fix that. It helps you gain a new perspective on things. So that's something that I like to do. I kind of help my son with his baseball career. And so getting out and getting exercise is important. So we do that together. Self-help, self-care is really important. That's a buzzword right now. These are important things that I like to do and that I think would benefit you. And also giving back to the community. I used to facilitate a men's group a few years ago, and we'd get together and we'd talk about our struggles and challenges that were going on in our lives, and we just kind of help each other. And this was through a local church that I went to at the time. And so that was a blessing to me, even though I was kind of helping others. But, that's something else that you could think about. And I think even like doing this podcast and talking to other people, teaching, doing something to serve others, it helps you get the focus off of you and the pressure that's on you off by, turning your attention to others and getting it off of yourself, because we can feel like the spotlight is shining on us because we've got several clients or one big client, or we've got an interview coming up, and then we've got work and we've got something else going on. We feel the pressure of everyone's eyes on us. To get it off of us to serve others is a good way to do that. Imposter syndrome is another big one for us artists. And especially when it comes to maybe clients who are a bit more demanding and challenging and question everything that you're doing, you could start to feel like, am I qualified to do this? What am I doing here? You never really have an answer for that. I think it's more internal than external. There may be situations where you may be a little over your head in terms of qualification. And you kind of have to manage that. You ask yourself, should I be doing this? If it is a struggle and a strain, and you have to kind of, I hate to use the word lie, but do some things to kind of finagle your way through a situation, maybe therein lies the strain and the pressure, is that maybe you shouldn't do it. Again, you should be able to objectively look at a situation and say, you know what, this is not for me. I'm not going to do this. So if the imposter syndrome comes from a place of you really aren't qualified, then you might be doing yourself a disservice by trying to push ahead anyway. Now, there's plenty of stories out there of people who felt that and pushed through, even though they weren't qualified, and they still made it happen. And so you really have to be the judge on where you stand there. Is this something that you can fight through and do it? Or is it something that you're doing out of a sense of obligation, or I should be doing this? Well, I'm an artist, or I'm this, or I'm that, and so I'm going to make this happen. And all the while, you are suffering in some way. So, that's something that you can only determine on your own. It's really a personal thing for you to ask yourself, when you're feeling like you shouldn't be in a situation, can you really push through? Do you know what you're made of, and can you make it happen? Oh, I almost forgot. A very important thing that I must add to the tool belt of ways that you can combat just the mental wear and tear of being a graphic designer, being an illustrator, freelance artist, is to talk to others. And, I got to talk to other people. I prefer to be alone creating. That's the problem. A lot of times as artists, we get into our cave and we just work and we work and we work and head down, we're grinding. And we never take time to bounce ideas off of others. Like I talked about talking to my wife, and that's good. It's great to have that significant other that you can turn to and voice your frustrations and all that. But sometimes that's not enough. My wife has skin in the game. So if a client has ghosted me and I'm frustrated about it, and I go to my wife, I'm like, yeah, I'm having trouble, well, for her, along with the fact that this person is causing my husband discomfort or pain or whatever, she's also upset because, hey, that's money that is owed to us. We need to get that. So, her perspective may be a little skewed in that sense. So sometimes I may withhold things from my wife, but I still need to vent to someone. And that's where networking comes in. And I talked about it in the previous videos, how important networking is. And, whether it be on LinkedIn or finding some group on Reddit, find people that you can talk to, that you can vent to, other artists that can relate to the plight that you are going through. These are just things that I do to stay sane, to keep focus, and to make the experience of being a freelance artist more pleasant. So hopefully this helped you. Leave a comment if you liked it or didn't like it, you want to add to it. I'd love to hear from you guys. And hopefully I'll have another video sooner than this one came out. So take care, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next broadcast.